Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chit Chat with Lavisha. Today is slightly different because it's a pre-recorded video, but I hope you enjoy it. Before we begin, let me introduce my guest speaker. My guest speaker is an experienced psychotherapist, life coach, dream analyst, international speaker, clinical hypnotherapist, corporate trainer, and an excellent spiritual healer. She is a wonderful relationship and marital counselor, international trainer for past life regression studies, and the founder and chairman of a successful running psychotherapy and healing session called Vishwas Healing Session. It is her deepest desire to extend her positive experience to the people around her and help them to uplift their souls towards the highest good. No matter what your past has been, she believes it's possible to rise above the situation and find yourself. So without further ado, I present to you Dr. Pooja Anand Sharma. Welcome, Dr. Pooja.
Thank you, Lavisha, for such a beautiful introduction. And it is a pleasure sharing this platform. And as you are taking the initiative to create mental health awareness, which is very important nowadays, and I really appreciate your initiative. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, and it's my pleasure to have you on my show. So let's begin. I've got questions for you to answer, and we can get right into it. So the first question is, what fascinates you the most about psychology?
It's a very beautiful question, and thank you for asking that. So psychology, as you know, Lavisha, is a science of human mind and behavior, right? So what fascinates me is the mysteries of the subconscious mind. The mysteries of subconscious mind really fascinates me, and more than that is when I'm able to decode those mysteries and present that subconscious mysteries to the conscious mind of my client. That's something that thrills me. That fascinates me a lot.
That's actually a very interesting fact. I mean, I'm glad that you brought it up. But on the other hand, I want to know, what is the difficult part of being a psychologist?
So, Lavisha, when I always say that when you are so passionate about your work and when you enjoy your work, right, then there never comes a part when you feel that it is difficult. You always see that there is always a learning, there is always an opportunity. So I've always enjoyed my work as a psychologist. So I always felt that there has been all the difficulties have been my opportunity to learn and to experience and to grow. So I never felt that as a challenge anyways. But still, as you have asked me, so I will just say that on a personal level, be it any profession, when you are too much into your profession and you are 8 to 9 hours of the day, you are wearing that role of what you are working. So I'm wearing, I am in the role of a psychologist. So you, as a psychologist, you have an analytical mindset, right? So sometimes the role of a psychologist, Lavisha, can overpower the overpower the other roles, that is of a daughter, of a wife, or everything. So in my early years of my doing the this work, when I started, my mind was very well trained because I was aware that when to wear that role and when not to wear that role. So it is a that is something that you should know when to differentiate. That is only, I think, the typical part. But now the mind has been trained to that, when to wear that role and when not to wear that role. Because at home with your friends, they want a nurturer. They don't need psychologists everywhere. So that is something has to be taken care. I think that is in with every profession, I feel.
That's actually a very beautiful answer. And at the same time, I'd like to mention, you were actually able to find something that you love and very passionate about, which turned into your career, your profession.
Yeah.
And I assume you've been doing this for quite some time, right?
Yeah, that is beautiful part to it. That's the reason that you'd never get tired doing what you do. You can do 24 hours. But yeah, again.
It really won't matter whether, the number of hours or any of those things won't tire you down because you just love what you do.
You love doing what you want and what you really, passionate about. So it has always made me, happy, and it has always, helped me grow in life.
That's really, really nice. I mean, I'm happy for you that you found your line, you found what you love doing, and you've been doing it for
Yeah.
years. And,
Yeah.
I hope you continue doing what you do.
I love that. Yeah, I wish that everybody should really find out their passions, and that is how they, actually feel the satisfaction in life. That's how they can do the justice with their work and professions.
Okay, so coming to the next question, this is actually a situational based question. So let's say a 7-year-old child is not showing interest in any of our online classes because we know
Mhm.
the past 2 years, the pandemic, everything has gone online and everything is virtual. So how can is not showing interest in his or her online classes? How can the parent show more interest? And if the child's wish isn't fulfilled, he or she gets upset. So how are parents supposed to deal with this situation? Because I think a lot of the parents are going through the same thing.
Mm. Yeah, but Lavisha, there are two basic questions here, right? One is that the students, sorry, not enjoying the online classes. That is the first question. The second question is that if the child is not understanding what the parents are saying. There are two questions. I will answer in parts to it. So if the child is not, that is very very difficult question, and that is quite a real problem nowadays. When students are not taking interest in the online classes. So there are reasons to it. See, to be honest, when you are spending too much hours on the screen, right, it is actually very tiring. It is very exhausting sometimes because there are, so many message units to absorb in the classes. At the same time, there is not there is a kind of, you have to sit at a one place, concentrate, as well as the screen is itself very, tiring. So parents have to understand this one particular aspect to it. At the same time, when we are talking about the kids of 7 years or say till 12 years, they have to be under the close monitoring of the parents. So it has to be active and creative parenting from the part of parents, which includes that you have to, make your child understand that whenever he is taking online classes, he should be, he should be in a habit of maintaining the diary, that is review diary, where he is making notes side by side. That will help him to remain focused. The
Mhm.
second is there should be a close monitoring that his camera should not be switched off. That will again help him to be focused in the class, right? These are two things important. But other than that, as a parent, as teachers, there are important aspects to be seen, that kids get enough breaks in between so that they can stretch themselves and can feel a little, active on that part. At the same time, parents should help them with creating the good meals, healthy meals in the breaks, help them to, stretch themselves a little. Fun activities in the schools or the classes should be introduced, like, 5 minutes cartoon break, 5 minutes storytelling, aspects to it. So
Yeah.
these are certain aspects where parents and teachers have to,
Hand
work
in hand.
together,
Yeah.
hand in hand, work together to help the kids to cope up. At
Mhm.
the same time, for the parents, I would definitely say they should work on the diet aspect of the students, but particularly because and monitoring their screen time, because too much of the screen time can, lead the child um, to many other difficulties in learning, focus, concentration. So too much screen time should be, controlled, well controlled by the parents. Say, for example, if they have, homeworks, they can give the printouts to the kids rather than, asking them to take it from the screen. So they can take out the printouts. They should refer to the NCRT books or whatever the books they are. They should make in a habit of taking the books, which जो अब थोड़ा सा छूट रहा है उनकी habit. They are learning it from, everything they are, doing it online with the screen. So that has to be in close monitoring with the parents. That is parents who need to check with it. At the same time, they should help the child to develop a habit of yoga and pranayama, which will, create more oxygen to their brains, help them to focus better, help them to concentrate better. It will also raise their spiritual quotient right from this age. So it will really help them to create a clarity of mind in the child. So that is the first answer as you asked me. Again, I will say it is the role of parent and teacher together, not only parent.
Okay.
For the online classes. And you have asked the second question. Can you repeat the second question again, please?
If the child's wish isn't fulfilled, how should the parents handle these kind of situations?
Okay. So, see, Lavisha, with a child, a parent understands the child better. He knows a parent should be able to distinguish what is the tantrum and what is the real need of the child. If the parent is able to understand that this is the tantrum of the child and he is just throwing the tantrum, if he is able to understand, the best way is to ignore and do not give any reaction to the child. एकदम से अगर हम reaction दे देते हैं, then the behavior is reinforced because he got the attention. आप उसकी wish fulfill करें चाहे ना करें, but he got the attention, right? So ignoring and not giving any reaction to it at that time when he's throwing the tantrum. Give the child the space to understand that where he is, he has to interpret his own behavior. So that space has to be given to the child for some time. I'm not saying that leave the child for hours. No, for some time, give that space to him. After some time, पहले तो यही ध्यान रखना चाहिए, let the child come to you and ask, Mama or Papa, why you're not talking? Or let child have that first move. But if you see the child is not making the first move, then go and ask the child when he's little calm. Then make him understand that this can be, explained in this way, right? And the second point is, I always tell all my clients, you should not worry that your child is not listening to you. You should worry that the child is observing you, watching you. So having that kind of behavior which you want your child to inculcate, which you want your child to follow. So if you are living in a joint family, if your children are very intelligent and they're very good observer, what they observe, it goes in their subconscious mind, right? So if you see parents not respecting their child see that parents are not respecting the grandparents, so that is automatically inculcated in the child's mind. So what behavior you want the child to inculcate, you need to inculcate that behavior first. You want your child to develop healthy eating habits, then you should have healthy eating habits. If you are into alcoholism, if you are into clubs and things, and so the child is watching you, one has to guard his own behavior, then child is automatically inculcating your behavior subconsciously. That is quite natural.
So it's basically just the idea that the parents need to monitor their behavior because they don't realize that subconsciously the child is watching them, observing them.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, they're gonna basically copy them and do whatever my parents does.
So child will naturally inculcate that behavior. That is very important. So don't worry that your child is not listening to you. Worry that your child is observing you. He's watching you every minute. That is a point.
Because I guess a lot of parents would actually say that, my child isn't listening to me, like their friends, their family, their relatives, that, my child is throwing tantrums and, they don't like this, they don't like that. So parents actually think that parenting has become so much more difficult now than it was probably like a couple of years back when I think our parents were growing up or our grandparents were growing up.
Yeah, because awareness have raised a lot, you understand. And with the raised awareness, it asks for creative and active parenting as well. So more you are into understanding of the needs of the child, that is mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, more you are aligned with it, less you are going to face with the tantrums and stuff from the child.
Okay, that's honestly a very nice reply, so thank you for that. Coming to the next question, as we know, we've all been in this pandemic situation for the past 2 years or so. and we've actually been seeing a lot of negativity around us. So how are we supposed to overcome this or deal with such situations?
Okay, so this is a very frequent asked question and very valid question in this stage of pandemic, Lavisha. And I will simplify it in 4 points, I would say. See, to explain that, I would say, see, a person feels negative or uncertain when a system is broken, right? So initially there was a system, understand. The working people should go to their work in the morning. Children should go to the school. The homemakers are doing their home task and everything, and they know that okay, बच्चे 2 बजे आ जाएंगे घर. The working will come back at 7. So that system was there. Now that system has collapsed. Because that system has collapsed, whenever the system is collapsed, a new system is formed. And until the new system is not formed, there is an insecurity, there is uncertainty, right? As the government has laid the guidelines, new guidelines, just हम कहते हैं, new normal. New normal is wearing the mask, maintaining a distance, hand sanitizing, right? So we are still adapting to it. Mostly we have adapted to it. Now this is, so the fear has gone. Similarly, every home, every house has its own culture and system. The earlier you understand and is able to, lay the new normal systems for yourself, because everybody is at home under one roof working online, right? So there are new systems which have been introduced. So earlier you accept it, understand it, the reality, and make the system of your own house accordingly. What to expect, what not to be expected within the family members. When it is communicated to each member of the family, then the things will be okay and adjustment would be easy. So that is one thing, laying a new system, accepting and laying down a new system. That is first point. Second point, I would say, is flexibility of mind, which helps you going in this pandemic, right? In the situation of uncertainty. In the situation of uncertainty, your mind should be open to new learning, unlearning which is not serving you, and learning which needs to be adapted in the new situation or environment. So that requires flexibility of mind. A rigid mindset will only search a problem, because they face difficulty in accepting कि ये हो ही क्यों रहा है, first of all, right? So flexibility of mind is required. The third point is the person should be very well focused over his health. Diet and health should be taken care of. If you have some nutrient deficiency, that also creates your negative mood. So your diet needs to be well planned. The second is your good health, practice exercises, yoga, pranayama, aerobics, whatever suits you, any physical activity. It can be dance even. That generates good hormones. That needs to be there, right? So these are, and the last would be having this philosophy in mind that every problem has a seed of opportunity and solution in it. The minute you focus there, the minute your mind, is focused over the solution, so that creates a lot of positive energies to you. Live one day at a time in this situation of pandemic. Take one day at a time. That really helps to create a positive mindset. So these are the 4 or 5 basic points which one should keep in mind to that will help them to stay positive.
That's actually really nice. I mean, I'm glad that you brought this up, and definitely this will go in a platform where everyone will hear this, and I really need to hear this.
Yeah.
Coming to the next question, when a teenager has a lot of mood swings, because I'm sure this is actually talking about parents who have young teenagers within their teenage years. So they have like a lot of mood swings and they work accordingly. So how should a parent deal with those kind of situations?
Lavisha, as I always say that, parenting at a different age group is different. Parenting style has to be changed at different stages of growing up. So like 1 to 12 years of 1 to 10 years of age, the parenting styles are different. Similarly, for the teenager, the parenting style has to be different, right? We have to switch on the other parenting styles for the teenagers. So with the teenagers, I would like to tell the parents that, sometimes we do not realize that the teenagers are going through their own challenges, their internal and external challenges already. There are hormonal changes, and there are a lot many other aspects also which parents might not be aware, but it is within the teenager, right? So that point of time, a teenager would not like to be nagged.
Yes.
That is first thing, which is the mistake we parents do, because we are in a parenting style from 1 to 10, and then when the child is a teenager, we are practicing the same
The same.
same styles of parenting, right? We वो switch on नहीं कर पाते हम लोग, understand ही नहीं कर पाते, तो nagging continues, right? So at when your child is a teenager, the first thing you have to tell yourself is that we have to treat the child as an individual, जो कि वैसे अगर देखा जाए, right from the beginning the child should be treated as an individual. उसके अपने choices हो सकते हैं, उसके अपने likings dislikings हो सकते हैं, आप उसको guide करें, आप उसको मेंटरिंग करें, राइट? मेंटरिंग का मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप अपने थॉट्स उसके ऊपर डाल दें और उसको उसके अकॉर्डिंग चलाएं. अपने कन्वेंशनल थॉट्स या अनकन्वेंशनल थॉट्स, उसको अपने थॉट्स डेवलप करने दें. वो आज़ादी होनी चाहिए, वो फ्रीडम होना चाहिए. But especially when the child is a teenager, he has to be treated as an individual, his individual space, his understanding, his liking, his disliking. And moreover, he loves to be appreciated because he needs validation. All teenagers, they search for validations, that's why they can relate very well to their teenager friends. So if parent understand that your teenager is looking for validation, is looking for appreciation, that what he is good at, right? तो अगर वो 10 में से एक भी अच्छा काम करता है, तो you have to pick that one and have to tell him that okay, this is something that you have done really really good, है ना? So nagging has to be avoided, appreciation has to be there. At the same time, what parenting style should be there? It is friendly. You should feel that you are friendly to the child, not judgmental, because they have a fear of judgment as well.
Heard that a mother or a father should be the best friend of his or her child. It actually does apply in this sort of parenting style from teenage years onwards.
Yes. Actually, and how to, sometimes when they reach the teenage, a gap develops. How to bridge that gap? I always tell them 2 therapies. I always have, told my clients in the session that there are 2 therapies with a teenager. You should always practice. That is, one is telling your own story, your own life story as a teenager, how you went into, how you were as a teenager, what struggles you had as a teenager, so that they can relate to you and they can understand, okay, they also went through the same problems, and so they can be really helped, right? The second is, telling the teenager about their childhood stories. Childhood stories means showing them the childhood pictures and then talking about it, so that your teenager knows that how he has been reared by the parents, first thing. Second, the teenager will know what was his strength and weaknesses right from the beginning. That will help him to have a reflection, which is very important as well. The third point would be giving small responsibilities to the teenager, telling him that मतलब घर के जो भी हालात हैं या जो भी struggles रहे पेरेंट्स के, वो थोड़ा थोड़ा, I'm not telling you to pressurize the teenager, but थोड़ा थोड़ा बताना शुरू करें अपने घर के कल्चर के बारे में, अपने घर के हालातों, स्ट्रगल्स के बारे में थोड़ा थोड़ा टीनेजर को बताना चाहिए, अपने टीनेज बच्चे को, टीनेजर को, और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज देना शुरू करना चाहिए उस एज में, so that उसको लगे कि भाई I am contributing. Always use such words, because of you today I have felt very good. आप थोड़ा सा कोई भी छोटा काम घर का, ask him to help you, और जब वो help करता है, तो tell him, use these words that, because of you, I'm feeling so relaxed today, I'm so calm today. That will help him, motivate him, and build a bond with, between parents and teenagers. So there has to be communication rounds. There should be um, time between parents and the teenager. Friendship भी ऐसे develop नहीं होती. Friendship takes its own time. और अगर हम right from the childhood इस point को करें, तो teenage में कभी ऐसा problem नहीं आएगा.
Yeah,
So these are some aspects which has to be taken care by the parents.
And I guess another thing, looking at it in the teenager's perspective, they would also want to be treated like an adult, equal to their parents, equal to their older siblings if they have any. That, if so and so can take care of this responsibility, I can too. I am also of that age, that it will give them a sort of sense of responsibility that, what, I can fulfill this, I can help mom this way, I can help dad this way, I can help my bhaiya or anyone else in your family, your sister-in-law, whoever needs help. They'll be like, oh yeah, so this one can help me, you're old enough now, you can come and take care and help me, all those things. It does give, like, it does make the child that, what, I'm capable of this. And all those insecurities that he or she might be facing might some sort of like, that would be like eliminating in that way, that I have a sense of responsibility. I am responsible. I can take care of a lot of things. I don't need to depend on mom and dad, like within my first 10 years of growing up.
That's very true. And that prepares them for their 20s as an adult.
Because getting into your 20s are actually the more difficult years.
Yeah. So that training starts right from the beginning.
Okay, so coming to the next question, can you tell us a little bit about your Vishwas Healing Center and what motivated you to start the center?
Oh, that's a very, very beautiful question for making you understand Vishwas Healing Center. I have to tell you that I started my practice as a healer from the age of 16, by the age of 18, I was a energy healing therapist. And according to my teachers, I was the first youngest energy master at that time. And, at that point of time, and, after learning energy healing therapies, my whole personality changed. My whole personality, because I became more sensitive to energies as well as the emotions and, the aspects. At the same time, I was, studying my psychology. My studies with psychology was ongoing along with my studies in the healing energy therapies. So by the age of 21, when I actually completed my, I enrolled in my master's in psychology and as a energy healing therapist. These were two important aspects. One was psychology and spirituality. So I was studying that from past 5 years. At that point of time, with the age of 21, I started Vishwas Healing Center with a vision that an integrative approach towards wellness has to be introduced, especially in my country where mental health awareness is very less at that point of time. अब तो क्योंकि पेंडेमिक की वजह से भी थोड़ा राइज है अवेयरनेस में, और पहले 5 साल में भी थोड़ा सा mental health awareness के ऊपर काफी बातें हुई. But at that point of time, I'm talking when I was 21, it was not there. So with that vision, I started Vishwas Healing Center, that, there is this an integrative mental health to issues here that should be treated with an integrative approach of psychology and spirituality. That was the vision which has really inspired me to start Vishwas Healing Center.
That's honestly very beautiful. Like, you had a vision in mind and you've gone for it. If I may ask, how many years has it been? It's been running.
I started the journey as an energy therapist at the age of 16 now. So the experience, if I count, is more than 15 plus years now, 18 plus years, I would say.
Oh, wow.
As a psychologist and as a healer. So this gives a very beautiful, it's a very beautiful combination, the psychology and spirituality together. It can transform a life.
Yeah.
And why I have a conviction, Lavisha, I have a conviction towards it, because आज मैं इतने conviction से इसलिए बोल सकती हूँ क्योंकि I have undergone that transformation as a person, as a personality. So that inspires me to heal lives further.
That's beautiful. I mean, you had a vision of healing and, wanting the best for the other people. And that's when the journey begins. So congratulations, kudos to you, and
Thank
all
you.
the best for your future endorsements.
Thank you so much, Lavisha. Thank
So
you so
coming
much.
to the next question, what should someone do in the case of an anxiety attack? And are there any medications that you can suggest, if there are any?
Okay, so Lavisha, being a psychologist, I'm not, uh, I cannot prescribe the medicines though, but I can introduce you with the therapies and, aspects you can how to handle the anxiety. There are 6 easy steps to deal with anxiety, and through your medium, I will love to tell you that. And if anybody wants to see that in detail, then we have a YouTube video on Vishwas Link Center YouTube channel. Here, one can search that, the 6 easy steps to reduce anxiety. The first one, I would say, there are 6 steps basically. The first step is whenever you are feeling anxiety, there your body will tell you that you are anxious. There are certain body symptoms that you have to recognize in yourself. That is, the first one would be, the symptoms are like dry mouth. You can feel a heaviness over your chest. You can feel trouble in breathing. You can feel, a lot of sweat. Um, Heart rate can go, higher, on a higher side. So these are certain body symptoms which will tell you that you're going to hit a anxiety. So the first step is to identify the body symptoms. The second step is leaving that space. Whenever you feel that you have hit an anxiety or you have experiencing this body symptoms, leave that space immediately. The third would be sip in the glass of water. You don't have to gulp the water, you have to sip the water. Sipping the water will help you release the anxiety symptoms. Then the fourth point is that go out in open space. Space means that where you can see the light and or feel the air, open air. Go out. That is the fourth step. Fifth step is a very important step where you have to count your 5 achievements or 5 most happy moments of your life. Count 5 most happy moments of your life or 5 achievements in your life. That is the fifth step. The sixth step is then after you count your 5 achievements or 5 most happy moments, hug yourself, like wrap your arms and hug yourself. Hug yourself and tell yourself thrice, I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough. So these are the 6 easy steps to reduce anxiety. And this really helps.
Okay, so coming to the next question, what happens if depression is left untreated? As you had mentioned, in India, particularly the past 2 years or so, the number of depression rate has actually increased. So, and I'm sure that a lot of people, won't be able to. So, how are they supposed to deal with, this anxiety or this depression they've been going through sitting at home?
So as I said that a person has to have a bigger perspective. That is how they have to. Simple सी बात है, अगर आप एक पत्थर को बहुत closely अपनी आंखों के पास रख लेते हो, that seems a very big to you, and then you can't see beyond that stone if you have kept it very close to your eye. And if you throw it, you keep it away, it becomes the size automatically decreases and you are able to, your vision is clear, you can see other things. So I would always say that don't, be aware, be alert about the pandemic. There are certain guidelines which we have to follow, but we don't need to feel fearful, we don't need to be scared, right? And broader your perspective. Pandemic is not going to be forever, that is one thing, right? And making your mind, as I already told you, flexibility of mindset is one thing. And finding, having that philosophy that every problem has a solution to it, and only thing required is you have to broaden your perspective while dealing with it, right? This is how you can keep your, and I have shared the 6 easy steps to deal with anxiety. And this is how depression can be treated, by keeping a broader perspective. But you said that what happens if the depression is untreated? That was the question, right?
Correct.
So definitely when the depression is untreated, you are able to, you have to face the consequences which never a person or a loved one will want to face.
Mhm.
But the point is, depression is untreated is not a question. Depression unnoticed is a problem. When depression is unnoticed, that becomes a problem. Because when once you are able to identify that there is depression, solutions are to it. But प्रॉब्लम तब होती है जब डिप्रेशन का पता ही नहीं चलता इंसान को, और आपके अपनों को भी अवेयरनेस नहीं होती that person is going into depression. So awareness related to depression should be raised in the masses. The awareness should be there, that what are the symptom of depression which needs to be identified, and that through your medium I will just like to elaborate on that. When you see that your person, your loved one or significant other, you yourself feel that you are feeling disinterested, lacking purpose, you're feeling a lot of confusion, and you, things which you used to enjoy you are not enjoying, your appetite is either decreasing or increasing,
Mhm.
the sleepless nights, and anxiety, as anxiety symptoms I have already told you. If these things, any, uh, 5 to 6, 7
Anyone is
symptoms,
facing these things,
yeah,
then you would know that he or she is facing or going through depression.
any one will not do. It has to be a combination of symptoms in together. And if that combination is, more than persisting, it is persisting for more than say 1 or 2 weeks, then it is a time you should definitely take professional help, and should be taken care of on time.
So untreated is not the issue. The issue is that people are not able to be aware of the fact of what it,
Aware of.
how the person is going through it. We cannot see it technically. Like a
Yes.
lot of people cannot even say that we see depression with our bare eyes because this is something you cannot see.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That's why awareness in mental health is very much required.
How do you think a person can increase their awareness? No, just for them to know whether their loved one, their family member, or their better half is going through something. Besides these symptoms, are there any other ways to identify?
That by understanding the importance of mental health. When the importance of mental health will be raised and increased in the society, slowly the taboo will be removed, though it is removed, but still, people will be more active in taking up professional help. So I always tell them, wiser are the people who take professional helps
Mhm.
when, when it is required. So more you understand the value of mind and its health, more will be,
Better it would be for
that,
you and the rest of your loved ones.
yes, yes.
In fact, there's a follow-up question to that I wanted to ask. Mental health awareness has been very recent. Prior to this, like, let's say when our parents or our grandparents or that sort of generation was growing up, they would always say that we never had to face such issues that you guys are facing now. So sometimes parents are not able to understand the value of it because they didn't face it. They were just taught that, okay, you know what, this is plain life, just go to school, come back home, live your life as per your parents say, as per your grandparents say, and it was just simple. Yes, I understand now we have the aspect of social media and technology that was put into it, but in fact through that means we're supposed to be able to teach everyone, but not everyone is able to understand the concept of it, especially I would say majority and mass of Indians. I mean, I'm not discouraging or saying anything bad about Indians because me, you, and we all are Indians. And obviously, we should encourage our own people. But then again, there are times our own people don't understand what we go through. They think it's not some sort of disease. Oh, ऐसा तो कुछ भी नहीं है, तुम्हारा बस मन का वहम है. ये बात तो I think बहुत बार सुनी होगी. ये बस तुम्हारा मन का वहम है. Nothing, just go through it. You don't need to go to like a doctor or get professional help. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं. What do you have to say to those kind of parents?
So understand, it was there, Lavisha's, like from past, I have been into this profession from like past 18 years. So I have seen all the, the graph, the movements up and downs related to mental health and how it has been at that point of time. And now the awareness has already, is there. Parent are so conscious about now I'm talking about the situation now. They're so conscious and they're so aware about what the and they were aware about all the mental, emotional, physical health of the child, and they are concerned about it, right? But initially, definitely, as I said, that there was a taboo. There was a taboo, and people used to, restrict and were not encouraging. यहाँ तक they used to say कि psychologist के पास जाना ही अपने आप में एक taboo है at that point of time, but not now. I don't think it holds now it doesn't hold that true. Ab taboo itna nahi hai. Now the situations are improving. People are understanding. That's why the awareness has to be raised, by the means of the interviews, as you are taken the initiative. The youth is so aware, your youth is so aware. They the kind of initiative you are taking, the kind of initiative others are taking now, this is going to bring a lot of revolution and changes. And the kind of India we have envisioned, it will definitely be achieved, and we are doing very well. India is doing really, really well in terms of mental health now. The awareness have really, really raised.
That's true. That's honestly so true. And I'm sure down the line, not only me and you, but everyone all over India will be able to understand how important this is. And if ever professional help is needed, they can take professional help. There is nothing wrong with it, absolutely nothing wrong with it. And I guess that's why I'm taking this initiative, to be able to tell everyone else that if your child does need it, please do take the proper treatment as required.
And one more thing is that India, have the basic roots of India have been, in Ayurveda and natural sciences. It's rich. The culture is so rich that if one because the culture has changed, understand, Lavisha, because the past 20 years, the corporate culture was not Indian culture. Corporate culture has been imbibed here, right? And because of the corporate culture, the things have changed, systems have changed, and that obviously फिर वही mental health competition, ये सब चीजें आनी ही थी. At the same time, if the mental health issues आ रहे हैं, so India is so rich in its natural, natural healing techniques, no? The only thing is awareness has to be raised. अगर awareness बढ़ेगा, तो India itself would be will be a country with an integrative approach and giving you the best solutions to mental health.
Yes, I mean, if they have the resources, why not utilize it? India's got every single resource.
Everything better than any country, better than any country.
Correct. I think even if we compare India to, let's say, the United States or anywhere in Europe, they wouldn't have as much as we do have here, whether it's maybe through the herbal or those home remedies as well, or any
chanting.
Of the sort.
I would say the chanting, the mantras, the Ayurveda, the Pranayama, yoga, they all have the roots here in India. So I know the country can do wonders in terms of mental health once the awareness has been raised.
And I guess the foreigners actually want to copy the Indians for that matter, because they have seen how effective it is on Indians. So why don't we use it in our country as well? So
actually,
something to be very proud of, that India has got this. All they need to do is just be aware of all the resources.
True. Actually.
So coming to our last two questions, can you tell us one of the most difficult cases you've handled and you were involved in, but no names mentioned?
That's a very beautiful question, Lavisha. But again, I will say that I never perceived any case as difficult. I perceived every case as very unique, very individualistic, because every person has its own unique mental makeup. And that is what fascinates me. Has a very unique mental makeup, and every case has its own every case is its as a experience, a learning in itself. And because every case is unique in its makeup, and I personally, what as a psychologist, 18 years of practice, what I have understood, you don't prescribe a therapy to the problem, and you cannot refer a problem to your previous cases, because every case is individual. So you don't prescribe therapy to the problem, you prescribe therapy to the individual, to the unique mental makeup that person has. So I don't perceive it as difficult, but I've always perceived it very unique and very, very different and very individualistic. So no case as difficult as such.
So going back to your prescription point, I mean, it's not basically like a physical disease that you have where you can be prescribed so and so medicine for a stomach ache or a headache or for any other any other problem that you have within your body. You go to like a general doctor or a specialist that I have so and so problem, can you prescribe me a medicine? I mean, that's how we kind of look at it here in mental health, that basically therapy is our way of healing, but there's no one way of it. There's multiple ways of
one way. True. And I'm always say that if any problem, if you're facing any problem, be it insomnia, be it headache, be it anything, if it is hindering your functionality, you should never hesitate to take medicines. Medicines should be prescribed, and medicines should be taken. Only when you take a medicine, medicines create a space, it creates a space where healing can happen. And healing happens through the therapies, through the routine, through lifestyle changes, and understanding the roots of the problem. When you understand the root behind your depression, root behind your anxiety, is when you actually making and transforming your life, right? So sometimes if medicines are also required if it is hindering your functionality, right? After you take the medicine, you have to undergo a therapy. You should undergo therapy by a psychologist that can really help you to overcome issues forever.
That's actually true. So going back to my first point, if any of the parents see or are aware of the fact whether any of their loved ones are going through it, please do not hesitate to go and get professional help. Coming to our very last question, can you suggest some books on self-healing?
Actually, some books on self-healing. I would say or self-motivating books. You want to ask?
Yeah.
So some which really resonates to me, and I have advised many of my clients. Is the first book is You Can Win, which is very basic book, but which have profound effect. That is You Can Win by Shiv Khera. There's one book which I will definitely recommend everyone, and it is available in Hindi and in English. So one should take help from that. And the second self-help book is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and that is also a very beautiful book. You can really help yourself with that. It's very wonderful books. I really
come in audiobooks as well for the ones who are not readers and they're more of listeners.
Audiobooks I'm yet not aware though, because I myself is a reader. so books I definitely they are available on in Hindi and English version, but now as the podcast has been so much popular, I'm very sure that they will be releasing the podcast as well on these books and the topics covered in that.
Okay, so that would be it. And before I end this session, is there any last message that you would like to give our viewers who will watch this?
Oh, that's I always say that, and I always have said that keep your perspective broader than the pandemic. Pandemic is not bigger than your life. Your life is bigger than this pandemic. So keep your perspective bigger than this, right? Be aware what you need to do. Be prepared, but there's no need to be afraid of that. Plan for future, but don't get scared. This shall too pass.
Yes, that was a very, very beautiful message to end this session. So thank you so much, Dr. Pooja, for doing this. This honestly means so much to me, and I hope that a lot of the viewers are able to take out a really good message, especially the last point that you had mentioned. So thank you so much for doing this session. And if ever anyone is in India or in Delhi, and if you guys do need help, please feel free to message Dr. Pooja on her Instagram handle. Can you please mention your Instagram handle?
It is, I have two. Vishwas Healing Center is with the Psychology Healing World, and my personal account is with Psychology Healing Wellness. So you can definitely get in touch with me there.
Yes, so thank you so much. If ever you do need any help regarding mental health, psychology, or healing for that matter, please do contact Dr. Pooja. And I hope everyone enjoyed this session today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lavisha, for inviting me. And I really, once again, I really love the initiative and the purpose behind you taking, these interviews on mental health. I really wish you all the best and of this venture. And thank you for inviting me and making me part of your journey.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine to have you.
Same here, Lavisha.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. God bless.